Yo, what's up, guys? You heard the news, right? We are cooked. Harada is gone. And we are left with Michael Murray. All hope is in the bin. How are you, first of all? It's a long day, bro. It's a long, long day. Tekken is finished. It's a W for you? Why? One less tarts? Harada was not the problem. It is Murray. It is Murray, bro. Anyways, yeah, without further ado, let's read the goodbye of Harada, and yeah, it is goodbye. He couldn't solve it because he was not part of the development team anymore. He just was not anymore. Trust me. He already said I gave it to the next generation. Murray Nakatsu. Anyways, I'm gonna read it out now and then we will see. I'd like to share that I'll be leaving Bandai Namco at the end of 2025, with the Tekken series reaching its 30th anniversary. An important milestone for a project I've devoted much of my life to. I felt this was the most fitting moment to bring one chapter to a close. My roots lie in the days when I supported small local tournaments in Japanese arcades and in small halls and community centers overseas. I still remember carrying arcade cabinets by myself, encouraging people to play as try Tekken, and directly facing the players right in front of me. The conversations and atmosphere we shared in those places became the core of who I am as a developer and game director. Heavy. This is really heavy shit. Even as the time changed, those experiences have remained at the center of my identity. And even after the tournament scene grew much larger, many of you continued to treat me like an old friend, challenging me at venues, inviting me out for drinks at bars. Those memories are also deeply precious to me. In recent years, I experienced the loss of several close friends in my personal life. And in my professional life, I witnessed the retirement or passing of many senior colleagues whom I deeply respect. Those accumulated events made me reflect on the time I have left as a creator. During that period, I sought advice from Ken Kutaragi, whom I respect as though he were another father, and I received invaluable encouragement and guidance. His words quietly supported me in making this decision. Over the past 4 to 5 years, I've gradually handed over all of my responsibilities, hence Tekken 8, as well as the stories and world building I oversaw, to the team bringing me to present day. Looking back, I was fortunate to work on extraordinary variety of projects, VR titles such as Summer Lesson, Pokken Tournament, the Soul Calibur series and many others, both inside and outside the company. Each project was full of new discoveries and learning, and every one of them became an irreplaceable experience for me. To everyone who has supported me, to communities around the world, and to all the colleagues who have walked alongside me for so many years, I offer my deepest gratitude. I'll share more about my next steps at a later date. Thank you very much for everything. Although I will be leaving the company at the end of 2025, Bandai Namco has asked me to appear at the TWT finals at the end of January 2026, so I expect to attend as a guest. For 30 years, I kept saying I'll do it someday, and never once performed as a DJ at a tournament event. So instead I will be releasing for the first and last time a 60-minute Tekken DJ style non-stop mix, personally edited by myself. together with this announcement. Listening to it brings back many memories. Thank you again, sincerely, for all these years. Tekken, a 30-year journey. Harada's final mix. Oh, shit, man. This is so fucked. I feel weird. I must say, I feel weird. I wish he would have not done it. I think it was the wrong time. I wish he would have tried one more time to do Tekken 9 and then leave with like a banger. Like he like left such a legacy, and then he let it be shitted on by Michael Murray, and now you're gonna leave us like this? I am somehow disappointed and really sad. This was not the way, I don't know, to leave it on Tekken. But yeah, here we are. It was a heavy journey, man. I must say. I enjoyed it. Tekken really benefited my life somehow. It's quite sad. But yeah. Everything comes to a close eventually, guys. Yeah, he might have evaluated it, but I think it was wrong. It's his decision. I can't change it. I just wish it would have been different. I wish it would have been in a way that he leaves with a positive mark and not with this game. Like, this game is like an insult to the entire franchise. Like, it's just... I don't know what this is. Tekken 8. He deserved like a banger, one last final Tekken, bro. But guess it's never gonna happen again. I got some like requests to react to videos and stuff, so I am gonna do it now. And yes, someone made a video. His name is Psycom. I didn't watch this video yet. And this is the video. Let's see what it is about. The MainManSWE's most controversial Tekken take. Okay. I'm curious. Are you guys ready? You all think that this situation will change something in the development, or they just stick to the... No, they just stick to the dog shit that we have. Man. What a shit vibe. And he left us with Michael Murray. Why does it need to be like this, bro? Why does Harada need to go and Michael stays? Man, I hate Michael Murray so much. Where we are completely at his mercy now, and he hates us. You know, he hates the Tekken community. There's a guy making a Tekken game that hates the Tekken community and wants to change the entire demographic of the player base. I think he might become successful. Tekken might become like some slop Fortnite, I don't know. I don't think Michael is involved directly in Harada leaving. I think more it is the case that his work that Harada passed on to him, he shitted on it so much that this guy just jumps off the ship. And I would do maybe the same, I don't know. I can't comprehend it, but he just jumps off the Titanic and it's sinking. I wouldn't want to drown with Murray. That's for sure. I wouldn't want to drown with that guy. It's not worth it. No matter how much you love Tekken. This game will become a stance rushdown pile of slop in 2 years. 2 years? I think we reached this level right now. I mean, look at all these Azuka players winning against Ni and Arslan, and just look at how Alisa is designed. Play the game a little bit and you get upset. Take a break. Because you miss Tekken, you come back, you play it again, and then you get upset what they made with the game. It's really horrible, bro. The game is really bad, man. I've been trying to say this from day one, and I've been trying to advocate for this message that we can maybe get it into the right direction, and I try to fight the shills as much as I could, but bro, we just had no chance. We just had no chance against FDX, Speed Kicks, the main man. We just had no chance. We didn't. The system was backing them. Everyone thought they just have the best intention of the fucking player base in their mind. And all the people like Frame Whisperer and stuff that tried to say what's going on got shitted on, vilified, gaslighted. It was just, what shall I tell you, man? That's just the truth.
Isn't this the developer's fault more than his? No. You can take that excuse and shove it up your fucking asshole. Fuck you. Fuck you. So tired of hearing that. When I play this game in ranked and everyone's abusing cheese, and when I play Dead by Daylight, everyone's abusing cheese. You are the problem. The devs are 50%, but the other 50% is you low self-esteem losers who choose to abuse the dumbest shit.
So it is the player base's fault and not the fault of like guys like the main man that were gaslighting us, lying to us, defending the game at any cost necessary for fucking 1.5 years until like it needed for him 2 entire seasons to read the room and go backtrack and realize the game is bad. You wanna tell me, main man, that you didn't know that this game is horse shit back then? Where is the accountability for your own actions? It's always everyone else. Everyone else is at fault all the time. You cannot say that the player base is at fault if you design the way, like the game in a way that it forces you to play the broken characters if you want to survive. How can you blame them, bro? I don't understand. Like, people say, yeah, he is right with this. Bro, like, you guys still forget the player base is not there to balance or design the game for the fucking developers, bro. That's not how this works. You wanna hold random people accountable for playing a fucking game and then just playing it the way it is intended? You think it's not intended that, like, all these people pick up Azuka because they made the character super horseshit broken? You think it's not intended that all of a sudden the poster girl is Anna? But yeah, it is always the fucking other people's fault. At least take accountability and say, yeah, bro, you were fucking shilling. You were gaslighting. You were lying. You knew. And that's why I make him responsible. But he will say he has no fucking responsibility and stuff. And hey, look, I just changed my opinion. You know, he never says the truth anyway.
I blame you as well. You choose to do that. Fuck you.
This is the prime example of being delusional. How can you blame someone who is using a mechanic that devs already put in the game? This is really insane. Everyone does his best to win the game, no matter what way he is using. Even pro players do it. So let's say you are in EVO Grand Final and your character is extremely broken. Are you gonna play honest shit, jab jab, or are you gonna abuse all the power that your character has? Let's shift from imagination to reality. Let me show you this. Here is an example why it's always dev's fault and not the player. This has happened during my rank run, where Eddie crushed Heihachi Rayjot. And if you think that was related to the player being late or pressing Rayjot or some kind of a lag, let me show you this in practice. As you can see, I'm still able to crush Heihachi Rayjot every single time. So are you going to blame me for abusing this? Is it my fault that Eddie can crush Heihachi Rayjot, or is it dev's fault for not testing the game enough? Let me put you in this situation. I will use 2 points. One from Tekken 7 days and the second one is going to be from Tekken 8. I'm not blaming you, I'm just asking you.
Yeah, when he uses the cheese, it's fine. Like always.
Take it, you motherfucker!
In this situation, the combo is fake and the player could have escaped it, but this doesn't deny the fact that you have abused the power of Marduk. So should I call you a loser and abuser, or should I blame developers for putting such as a thing as this in a game and use Kazuya?
This is what I say from like so long. The main man does something and it is fine. When you do it, he blames you. He always fucking blames you, and every fucking accusation is a confession about himself. I don't understand how he can operate this way.
An example. This has nothing to do with downplay or crying about Kazuya. It's just an example. So Kazuya main, please chill. Do you find this is fair? I know the damage is situational, but I'm talking about the move itself. So should I blame you for using it, or devs who allowed Kazuya to have a wall splat after I-13 heat engager move? Is it the player or devs? You may say this is very situational and you need wall for it and blah blah blah. Okay, I'll use another example which is not related to Kazuya. Let's talk about heat regain in the game. For example, Lars. Are we going to blame the player for dancing and regaining heat, or developers? What about Lao? Lao can regain heat in many situations, and a big example in the combos. So should we blame the player for using combos that regain heat? Yo, listen, don't do that combo, okay? Do another combo, you loser. Or should we blame developers for allowing Lao to regain heat with the dumb situations? What about June Laser? Should I talk about it? Here is an example. I got hit from a very long distance.
That's quite big.
So should I cry and blame the player, or should I blame developers for the long range that this move has? 2 points I would blame the player and agree with TMM for. First one, using cheat, because they know developers are not going to punish them, and a big example is Faribles. He has been cheating for more than 7 years, even though we can blame developers a little bit, but okay, let's throw it on the players. Point 2, pluggers, because they know they were losing already, even though in this point we can blame developers a little bit, because they could have made penalty more harsh. Example, they give the point to the winner and they just make it like 5k points to the plugger. But okay, let's blame the players for it. We really need to stop this kind of behavior, because if we continue doing this, season 3 will be Tekken Ninja Storm Combat 8. Because a big content creators take a little responsibility about what's happening in the game. When a guy as TMM who has over 300k followers say that the player's fault as well, what will developers think? I hope you guys got my message clear. This is not a hate toward TMM. I just explained the situation. You love TMM or not, this has nothing to do with him as a person. You need to put the failings aside and analyze this situation. He was super wrong, and that's a big L take for him. Even me, sometimes I call players monkey players, but deep down I know this is not their fault, because they are using things that developers gave them. Another point, and the last one that you can blame players for, is key charging. And here is an example that will prove my point about the first word I have said in this video. Enjoy.
12? Opinion on guys who key charge. Incels. Losers. To me, it's just loser. Miserable loser. cuck. Beta male.
I swear on my life, I watch you for several years. You do key charge yourself. Sometimes even without the opponent giving you a reason. I don't understand how he can do this, bro. Man, we all see your fucking streams. I just don't understand it.
Man-child.
They have given 20 gift subs in the chat.
Fuck off! Fuck off!
Oh. That's exactly what I mean. That is exactly what I mean, bro. Every single time he does something himself, when someone else does it, it's wrong. Oh, man. Yeah, good video, Psychom. I agree with you. I agree with you, man. You know what? Let's watch an all-time classic. I feel like I want to put a cherry on top. And then we might watch Nova Psyken's video against the main man. Bro, you know what, bro? Today I feel like doing this, bro. I don't know, man. I feel like he deserves it. No, I don't do the things with the slurs. Don't worry.
Like one of
Don't worry about it.
my favorite things to do is watch Tekken 8 content creator agony. Back when Tekken Tag 2 came out, I realized that I can't leave my entire stream and entire life in the hands of developers.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up and sit the head down! And don't ask me for shit, okay?
So that's when I started just playing games that are old as fuck. So what if you have kids and a family and you're a Tekken streamer and then Tekken 8 comes out and it sucks? Then what? You're gonna look at your family and you're gonna look at your family's future and then you're gonna look at the inside of Michael Murray's butthole. The main man was ranting for 25 minutes. Let me guess. He was ranting for 25 minutes and then, okay, now let's log in and play ranked. Dude, this shit is like psychopath behavior.
I think you will see people go, boycott Tekken, boycott the game, hang the developers from light posts, traitors, anyone saying anything positive. Traitors, traitors! I've seen these people already. If you want to talk about psychopaths. But I believe many of those who are the most vigilant, they're gonna keep playing the game. So I mean, I'm a psychopath for doing a very composed criticism of a game I care a lot about and then playing it because I still enjoy it.
You don't spend hours complaining and then, like, this is shit. It tastes like shit, it's got corn kernels in it, it's got undigested lima beans in it, and I fucking hate it. Now, I'm gonna put it in my mouth.
Thank you.
That's not human behavior, dude.
What I think of Season 2? I mean, so far, pretty cool. I'm not gonna sit here and defend this game. Like, I think this game is 5 times better than Tekken 7.
But that's my opinion.
And there is problems with the system mechanics. It's not heat that's the problem. GM said that heat isn't the problem. Heat is 100% the biggest problem in this game. If you remove heat right now, you legit have a better game. 5 times better than Tekken 7. 100%. I don't know what's psycho about that. Arston just tweeted saying, I'm getting kinda depressed with Tekken 8. It sounds like he's getting a burnout on the game. Maybe take a break, you know, take a break, come back to it and see if you feel better after some time. The thing is, if you feel like Tekken 8, it just doesn't seem to be for you, just flush the game. If you want to talk about psychopaths, I can just say in general that This is a pretty goddamn balanced game. So I think we've done a good job, and we also very quickly removed, you know, homing throws.
The giant swing and shining wizard will be homing now.
Yeah, this is penis cancer. You know, homing throws and super busted heat stuff we removed. So I think we've taken it very seriously. If you remove heat right now, you legit have a better game. And like the DLC characters are just works of art. This bot legit has made it to Destroyer by mashing one button over and over and over. I see why you don't like Eddie. No, I liked Eddie in Tekken 7. I did. I don't like Tekken 8 Eddie though. I think his animations are poorly designed. It's works of art. That low apparently wall splats. Absolutely. My goodness, Mayman, that hatchet is dumb now. Stop defending. But what's so game-breakingly broken? That it wall splats on counter hit here. That's just what I think. I don't think you're gonna see Brian's going to crouch and try and get a 50-50 mix-up on you. Oh, Brian to me is Season 2 in one character. They remove one bullshit thing and they replace it with another bullshit thing. They removed the god neutral, but in turn, he gets a super dumb busted 50-50 garbage mix-up from crouch. Absolutely. If that doesn't symbolize Season 2, I don't know what does. He is Season 2 in one character, in my opinion. I know what you're going to say. You're in heat, just block a low and launch them. But one, why would you block when you're in heat? Why would you block? You'll be doing this, right? Why would you block when you're in heat? I don't know what's psycho about that.
I don't know either. Adrian. You tell me. So do you understand now why I say he is a very aggressive shield? He aggressively shielded for this game. Do you get it? I'm so disappointed in him. Like, I swear, I think I've never been more disappointed in a person in my life. That's insane. And because the main man doesn't like to react, obviously, to the answer of Nova Saiken, I'm gonna react to it on stream, on Twitch. So, let's get into it. Okay.
As a rhetorical shield against someone who actually knows what is going on in Tekken 8 and how terrible lateral movement truly is in this game.
And the game plan is always more interesting than a sequence of button inputs. That's why I prefer having bigger side steps than bigger backdashes.
And now you have neither. Congratulations. Neither effective backdashing nor sidestepping and sidewalking.
Because honestly, this is a brain dead sequence. Get a hitbox, just spam backdash, and you just move away. Sure, you pressed buttons quickly, but I'm not sure that's more interesting.
So, according to you, backdashing is
Just enjoy
unsophisticated. And now, suddenly, only lateral movement is a sophisticated movement option in Tekken, despite the fact lateral movement has also been sabotaged in Tekken 8. Magically, creating whiffs with backwards movement and punishing these whiffs became a quote-unquote unsophisticated technique, an unsophisticated way to play Tekken. If that is the case, I'd like to arrange a meeting between you and this guy. I don't even know if you remember this guy. It's not even been that long, but judging by what I have just heard, I can tell you probably haven't seen him in a while. Let's just say that the way I see it.
Now you're gonna witness the MainManSWE, the guy that I was friends with, not this main man that you see now. I don't know who that is. They did some fucking, you know, when they replaced fucking stars in Hollywood and shit. That's like he got some MK Ultra fucking vibes, bro. I don't know who that is sitting there nowadays.
You guys have a lot of catching up to do. So let's arrange this meeting. You and this guy called Adrian. Just so you know, he's a Swedish guy who seemingly likes Tekken a lot, just like me. And he seems very, very passionate about the Tekken franchise, just like me. You know, I kinda like that guy, and the things he had to say usually resonated with me. Except, well, anyway.
But yes, I just said that Tekken 7 would be a better game, in my opinion, if you buffed the movement and made it closer to Tekken 5 instead of quite limited movement we have today. And you couple this with the most oppressive hitboxes you've ever seen in a Tekken game. Moves track more, moves have more range, and you have these super mids that, you know, hit extremely far, homing, very low mid hitboxes. You know, like Claudio back 1, Asuka forward 3, King forward 1. A lot of characters have these, and they are, if you combine those with the restricted movement, you're gonna have a bad time. And this was demonstrated so well when I played Tekken 5. Again, I've mentioned this before, with Chris Crane, fellow Swedish streamer. It was just such a reminder of what the game looked like back then. I was playing Kazuya, and I was doing forward 4, down back 4, attacks that give huge frame advantage for Kazuya. And I was doing similar stuff with other characters. And he doesn't have a Korean backdash. But all he had to do was, after getting hit by these big frame advantage moves, he just did a simple backdash. And the backdash in Tekken 5 is so large, like just doing one, no need to Korean backdash, and my follow-up pressure would whiff. So you get what I'm trying to say here. It's that in Tekken 7, due to the nature of offense in that game and how it's favored with large hitboxes, millions of moves, you're locked down into having to know all of these moves because you can't move away. Whereas in Tekken 5, just a simple backdash or a simple sidestep would negate almost all offense. It was a very defensive-oriented game, and utilizing movement in a very, effective way. And movement, in my opinion, is the most beautiful thing about Tekken. How any type of movement can be cancelled into any type of movement. It's very fluid. In my opinion, it's the best thing Tekken has. So Tekken 7 limits movement quite a bit while buffing offense. In this game, where someone is pressuring you with strings, you can't simply do a backdash because the backdash is so weak. So you're still left there in that, and the strings track so much to the sides.
So every fucking thing that he mentioned here that got worse over the time towards Tekken 7 is now times 5, but now he defends it. Do you understand why he is called a shill? Like, when he says, yeah, I don't know why people call me shill, you really don't know? You know.
Whereas in Tekken 5, you could actually effectively back away, just doing one simple backdash. You have a weak backdash. Most likely you don't have a strong Korean backdash, so you can't move away. The game favors more offense. And it is a very offensive game. Maybe not politically, but it favors offense a lot, yeah, that's Tekken 7 in a nutshell. And I do hope for Tekken 8 that they buff the movement, because in my opinion the game was more interesting when the movement was more fluid, and defense was a bigger part of Tekken's gameplay across all levels of play.
I want to make an observation and stress not only the hypocrisy on full display, but also the material proof of historical revisionism here. These revisionists nowadays, they treat Tekken 7 now, the literal advent of modern Tekken, as a defensive game, when in fact, at that time, Tekken has never been as offense-oriented as Tekken 7 was. Tekken 7 brought with it an unprecedented power creep. The first experiment with super buttons restricting defensive options and having super dimensioned rewards. Also, the first experiment in deliberately disrespecting and killing many character identities by filling their holes, removing identitarian weaknesses, etc. These people are trying to sweep Tekken history under the rug, but we will never let them get away with it. Tekken 7 was never a defensive Tekken. It's just that, compared to the absolute degeneration that is its offspring, Tekken 8, in retrospective, it looks like a defensive wonder.
So we go always back to one iteration of the game. We criticize Tekken 8. We say, hey, maybe in Tekken 7 it was also bad, but not as bad. And instantly people attack you and say, oh, Tekken 7 is so shit. Oh my god, how can you defend this game? How can you love this game? Blah, blah, blah. Dudes, we are just saying, hey, it was a bit better before, but the problems that we have in Tekken 8 now are the problems of Tekken 7 on trend. I just don't get it.
But it only goes to tell how low we have sunk. We have reached rock bottom, and these people are playing the role of damage control. But you think I'm done? No, I'm not. Let's proceed.
So in this video I will be ranting a little bit about the problems I just keep seeing in the gameplay and the balancing of Tekken 7. You know, and he represents the modern Tekken, Tekken 7. You see this with all of the new characters basically and DLC characters. They have these crazy over-the-top moves that just limit your opponent's defensive options. Reduce defensive options and reduce movement. What does that do with the game? And Claudio's back one. Yeah, one of the most perfect attacks you'll ever find. Press back one. Long range knockdown wall splatting mid that is -5 on block, and Claudio actually retreats away from the opponent as well into a comfortable -5. If he hits them airborne, oh, were you doing a hop kick? Oh, I screwed you. You got screwed, literally. And yeah, it's homing. So, he's obviously not the only one. There are a million of these types of moves in this game, but he serves as a perfect example because he's one of the worst examples. And then I play against a couple of Leroys, and I just find myself going, I don't like this at all. Do you know that if you play against Leroy, all you can do is guess? I get so stressed and annoyed playing against Leroys because you have no defensive options to go to. You can't sidestep to neuter his offense, and you can't backdash because his hell sweep, which is the fastest hell sweep in the game, has a lot of range. So you can't backdash away, and it's homing. His hell sweep is homing. Everyone is fine with Leroy having a homing hell sweep that's super fast and has enormous range, that he mixes up with back 4, that hits from 3 meters away and gives him +8 into another mix-up. Both of these moves are homing and have infinite range. If you're fighting against a Leroy, you can just guess. All you can do is guess. I can't believe people aren't talking about this. When I fight against Leroy, it's like the game isn't even working. What is Tekken if you can't apply movement? What is this game if I can't use movement to counter your offense? You're reduced to guessing. That's all it is. But I don't hear anyone complaining about this. All you can do is guess. That's all you have. And he also has an unseeable, safe mid-launcher in his super strong orbital. And as you're guessing, because you don't dare move against Leroy, considering everything, you know, is homing, the moves I showed you. Does he need a down 3-2? Hwoarang style, you know, down 3-2 into pressure? Does he really need this? You can't move out of the way. This hell sweep is what? Is it 18 frames, this hell sweep? And the range? In prior games where people had many defensive options to counter your moves because one move alone wouldn't cover 3 different defensive options. But in this game, they just implement more and more of it. And it started with Claudio, Katarina, and all of those obnoxious characters. And now we have Leroy, and it's like, how do I even counter Leroy? His very foundation is busted. It covers too many options. All I can do is guess. And when all you can do in a Tekken game is guess, you have a problem. But yeah, when you have this sort of, defense breaking 50-50 combined with strong poking and no execution, you have a big problem. You have a very big problem. And I'm very worried about the direction the game is going. And what does it say about their plans going forward with Tekken 8? Are we gonna get even less defensive options in Tekken 8? You've reduced the movement so much that it's hard to back away from offense. And then you have this. Or this. Or Claudio's back one, as I showed you. You can't move away. You can't move like you did in old games. And you have super attacks that even in the old games with crazy movement would be ridiculously good. But in this environment where there is very restricted movement, all of these, moves shine even more. So in many words, I'm just a little bit worried about the game. Is that how you balance a game? By giving the characters super attacks so everyone ends up using only 5 moves because they're so over the top? That's what the game is reduced to right now.
Thank you for the prime.
No, it doesn't bode well for Tekken 8. Depth is having more options. More defensive options as you play the game. You don't gain depth by giving characters super attacks that cover every single thing in the game. Tekken 7 has reduced depth. No. Having played Tekken 5 VR a lot, and then play this again, and it's a bit distressing. And I really hope they reinvent the game quite a bit for Tekken 8, and this oversimplification of a system, that they revert at least some of it. But when you reduce the movement and give all of the characters 5 key moves that you buff, you make them into god moves, you have a big problem because you reduce depth.
I don't know, man. Maybe something changed along the way.
What's up guys, MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and welcome to the Tekken 8 Beginner's Guide, where I'll be your coach and I'll be showing you the basics of the game.
But who am I to tell, right? I'm just a Brazilian kid who loves Tekken. The moment you consented and bowed down to their new design philosophy of profaning and sabotaging traditional Tekken movement, it's on you. When you spread misinformation about traditional Tekken movement, the silly idea that traditional Tekken movement was a problem to begin with, you gave the devs a blank check to tamper with what always worked, tamper with what made Tekken, Tekken. Let me ask you, the MainManSWE, when was backdashing in Tekken ever a problem? When was backdashing a glaring issue that ruined the Tekken experience and had to be touched? When was the technique called Korean backdashing something that deeply disturbed the Tekken community and mobilized the community against its existence? What the hell is this historical revisionism? Let's wind the clock back a little bit, before modern Tekken. If we take a look into the past, you will realize before Tekken 8 days, there is not a single instance where anyone ever complained about traditional Tekken movement. To the contrary, in Tekken 7, where they reduce backdash distance and also heavily sabotaged lateral movement in comparison to the previous titles, Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag Tournament 2, people complained that movement was not enough. People complained that Tekken 7 movement was not enough. My point is, backwards movement was never taken as a problem in Tekken by the players during the entirety of Tekken history, and it absolutely wasn't something players wanted nerfed or sabotaged. Quite the contrary, in fact. I invite you to type something like, quote-unquote, backdash is broken, Korean backdash needs to be nerfed on YouTube, and filter your search to show you videos from years ago. You won't find a single video of someone making the argument that backdash cancelling is actually bad for the game and should be nerfed. Not a single one. You will only find tutorials on how to do them, how to use them, how to apply it in your gameplay. You will find people praising a player for having crisp movement, for having amazing whiff punishment skills. Because, as you know, one thing is knowing KBD, but what matters is what you do with it. It's your capacity to create and punish those tight whiffs that make all the difference. But I digress, my point is, people really enjoyed learning and using it. It was an integral part of the Tekken experience, something people took pride in mastering and applying it into their gameplay. However, so to the Tekken community, the silly, ludicrous idea that through Korean backdashing, you could negate the opponent's offense or keep the opponent away from you indefinitely is a freaking...
You know what I find interesting? The guy that uploads the videos about Miyari-Zu the first, because he is in the Bandai Namco Creators Program, I think his name is like Daigojin or something, yeah? He posts on Twitter that Miyari-Zu is the most Tekken character we ever had. She plays like the neutral, like in old Tekkens, and that she is a very poking and like very like traditional fucking character. And I am like, how the fuck is he even saying that, bro? I have the tweet. But this is what I try to stress. The guys that get these things from Bandai, they all have also the same talking points. Can I ask you, what is the MainManSWE saying about Miyari-Zu? Is he coincidentally saying that she plays a lot of Tekken and that you have to, everything is option selectable and blah blah blah? Is he saying that coincidentally? Just ask. Is he?
Liar! They lied to you in order to advocate for this commercial, alien, anti-skill gap experiment called Tekken 8. One of the things that disturbs me the most is that because of the state of Tekken 8, in retrospective, I have to play advocate to Tekken 7, which would be inconceivable back then, as I was personally a severe critic of Tekken 7 since I coined it the advent of modern Tekken. But let's wind back the clock anyway. This was the average, everyday round in Tekken 7. Let's see how non-interactive, as they claim, Tekken was before Tekken 8. I'm leaving it to you, the spectator. Judge it for yourself.
Final round. Fight.
As you can see, the only thing Tekken players did before Tekken 8 was to spam backdash all day and negate all offense from the opponent, right? After all,
it's always also the same types of players that love Tekken 8, bro. Either they play Asuka or they play Ana. I wonder why they have so much fun lately. Can you guess?
Nothing screams more non-interactive than 55 attacks happening in a casual round. Now, let's compare this experience to the average Tekken 8 round.
Fight!
Look at me, bro. I'm so good at Tekken. I can do attack. I rock. You suck, bro.
Little bit slower when it comes to Eddie, one of the slower heat smashes in the game.
All right, activating heat with that back one. Plus frames on the high. Putting him in that corner. There is a ground to exploit here as well.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
So using up that graphic fidelity ability of that PlayStation. Nice back one.
Olha como ele joga muito, olha como ele joga muito o Steve. Nossa, jogou muito. Que round insano. Display de fundamento insano.
Thanks for proving me right, bro. Steve couldn't always do this as you claimed.
Oh, wait. So the big dick measuring competition here is GM says when Steve is bum rushing you with 1-to-1 flicker mix-ups, you can't backdash away. You can't do it in Tekken 8 and you can't do it in prior games. But here he says, Nova Saiken says, I can backdash cancel away in Tekken 7 and hit him. But so is this the video? In Tekken 7, the backdash is better. So you can, if you have extremely strong execution, you can backdash out of 1-to-1 flicker mix-ups. I mean, yeah, backdash is nerfed in Tekken 8. But I also find it interesting that he's showing it with Jin, who has a notoriously bad backdash. What does it look like on Alisa, for example, or Fakum Ram has a strong backdash? Dragunov, like what would that look like? Backdash is nerfed, of course, and sidesteps buffed.
Hold it! Lie. This is absolutely not true. And I already proved it is not true with a...
And this is why in the beginning of Tekken 7 I tried to explain, especially when Speed Kicks and VDX were on this like shill campaign, where they said that the sidestepping is better in Tekken 8. I said, bro, you know what they do? They buff the sidestep by 10% and then they increase the hitbox of the moves that you are meant to sidestep by 25%. Like a pig can understand that you will effectively step less.
Joint effort featuring the best Tekken players in the region, proving lateral movement in Tekken 8 is actually worse. We have tangible, material, unquestionable proof.
But Jin has a notoriously bad backdash. Have you seen Ulsan on Dragunov? Like, bam, he just disappears. You don't think Ulsan could backdash cancel away from this Steve shit? Of course he could. Hold it! He's showing it with Jin, who has a notoriously bad backdash. What does it look like on Alisa, for example?
Neither Alisa nor Dragunov can space themselves away from this loop. Stop misinforming your audience.
And that applies
Have you seen
to
Ulsan on Dragunov? Like, bam, he just disappears.
And that applies to many fucking characters. It's not only Steve, bro. Like,
Years. You don't think Ulsan could backdash cancel away from this Steve shit? Of course he could.
No, I don't think so. The next time, test the freaking interactions before talking out of your ass. I use this move in the XM precisely because it is fast, and I wanted to showcase how dangerous Steve is on close range. By outspeeding me by 1 frame in that interaction, he was able to counter-hit launch me. The worst outcome that can happen.
yeah, the main man was thinking, he was saying that about Steve specifically. Even then it's wrong. He says, yeah, just pick Alisa and then you can step like backdash against Steve in that situation. It's not true. It just isn't true. He just makes a statement, is too lazy even to go into the game to test it, and then calls you like, I don't know if you can say this word on Twitch. Sorry, Twitch police, I didn't say the word. Please don't delete my account. But, yeah.
So his point is, Steve is so deadly up close with his frames, back one, and space control that We should be able to back away with a strong backdash. That's it.
Precisely, you see? You get me after all. I only wished we could agree on this, but the current version of you doesn't seem to agree with me, for whatever reason. I specifically use Jin's Magic 4 precisely because it is fast, and I wanted the spectator to understand the danger involved in interacting with Steve on close range. Because of how dangerous he is, I stated that you must disengage to operate at a desirable range where Steve's weapons do not work, but yours do. I wasn't
You must disengage. Steve is so dangerous that you always have to move 3 meters away. So he's far away. Good luck doing that in pretty much any Tekken game. I almost want to boot up Tekken now and show Steve's rocket launcher, or his Sonic Fang, or his 1-to-1 peekaboo forward 2. Like, if Steve doesn't want you to disengage, have you seen his Albatross 2? It's a 10-meter heat engager that's safe. I mean, if Steve has a brain and he sees you're just mindlessly backdashing away, you think he can't touch you? With Wild Running 2, rocket launcher, peekaboo forward 2, like Albatross. He has a million options for that.
Oh yeah? Can he? Man, thank you so much. That's checkmate. So, in traditional Tekken, according to you, Steve had the power to magically close the distance with Wild Running 2, Albatross 2, rocket launcher, etc. What you're suggesting is that Steve is not merely a powerhouse on range 0, but that he's also a powerhouse on the ranged game, which couldn't be further from the truth. Yes, you are correct. Moves like Wild Running 2, Albatross 2, rocket launcher have something in common. They all cover a lot of range. On that, you are right. But like always with MainMan, it's always about half-truths, and the other half is swept under the rug. There's also another thing these moves share in common. That is, a slower startup than my ranged weapons. Steve's long-range moves are all slower than mine. I outspeed and I overcome Steve when I'm away from him. As long as I have the power to disengage from Steve and keep myself on range 3, I am in control of the match, not Steve. Steve has to get inside and risk getting obliterated by my faster keep out. What I was trying to convey on my original video is that they took away from the defender the capacity to disengage. So, if the opponent doesn't want you to disengage, you cannot disengage because the mere act of mashing will lock you down. Keep taking a guess, again and again and again and again. To make things even richer, more than half of the moves you mentioned are either punishable on block, like Sonic Fang or Peekaboo F2,
Good luck doing that in pretty much any Tekken game. I almost want to boot up Tekken now and show his 1-to-1 peekaboo forward 2.
or they make Steve minus, so you can properly check him afterward without the risk of getting killed by back 1. Every single move you mentioned will not beat a disengaging attempt with backdash cancelling. Worst case scenario, you didn't interrupt Albatross 2, it reached you, you blocked it, life goes on. Now you get to properly check Steve because the frames allow you to. Thanks for proving my point, MainMan.
Like, if Steve doesn't want you to disengage, have you seen his Albatross 2? The fucking balls on this guy to say GM doesn't understand core Tekken.
Yeah, my balls are massive indeed. I don't embrace conformity. I'd rather have my big balls than no balls whatsoever, running PR for Namco while losing myself in the process. Fighting GM completely fails to understand Tekken outside of the conveniences of his own character, Lee Chaolin. And that is precisely what makes him such a terrible analyst.
That's a pretty big statement considering he's one of the all-time Lee players, you know. That's a big statement, I gotta say.
Now, wait a minute, let me... Yes, I know. I was well aware of that being a bold statement. I myself stated that it was a rather bold statement. And I believe I more than proved my case for anyone who actually watched my video instead of your bad faith reaction, where you pause for every 5 seconds to make personal attacks and not let the spectator connect the dots of each explanation and how they are directly connected to each other. Those who did watch it, the actual video, have a very different perspective than those who only watched your hit piece.
Just to recap for you, what GM is talking about is core Tekken and its many possibilities.
Oh yeah, damn right, he for sure showed us the many possibilities. Let's recap them, straight from the man himself.
Like, let's say he does this, right? You see how he's +3, right? You can't like backdash, right? See? But you can sidewalk, right? So I do this, right? See? So he was complaining that he couldn't backdash out of all of that. He had to just take it. But that's how you could tell the guy's low level. That's how you could tell he's low level, man. He doesn't know how to play the game.
Man, don't you realize what is happening right in front of your eyes?
So you can sidewalk too.
You're literally gaslighting yourself and your audience. You've got clipped multiple times already. And on practice mode, mind you, a controlled environment.
So you can sidewalk, right? So you can just sidewalk a lot of stuff. Steve's tracking is not bad.
Yeah. He for sure showed the audience the many possibilities in terms of defense we have in Tekken 8. You could say he did a wonderful job. At proving my case, that is.
I should always be able to spam my backdash so Steve can't do anything. Would that be a good fighting game? Say you got the game you wanted.
By quote-unquote Tekken game I wanted, you must realize you're talking about the Tekken game you, the main man, wanted years ago.
Would that be a great fighting game if you can just backdash away from every type of offense, mindlessly backdash? Is that a good fighting game?
I never once said that. I never once asked for that. There's not a moment I ever asked for something we never had. All I asked is for something we always had. I never said I want backdashes to be a win-all, do-it-all option. You did. Once again, textbook strawman's fallacy. Who would want to play a game in which you cannot engage in any kind of offense because the opponent pressing back will negate all highs, mids and lows you might try? No one. I never...
You know, when you make an argument of like something being wrong in Tekken, and let's say being able to space moves, then they will just take your argument and put the fucking volume to the max and pretend as if you are saying you want to now backdash everything. Or, yeah, why? Would it be good now if you could just backdash away all the time and make everything with? Who says that? When did that happen? What was the time? What day did that have that been said? Do you have the evidence? No one is saying this, but they do this all the time, so you somehow look dumb, but they just expose themselves. Excuse me, when I say fucking I can't backdash in this game, yeah, you just want to run away all day. When did I say this? When did I say this?
Once said that backdashes should beat everything. You keep misrepresenting my points in order to make them as silly as possible, instead of engaging my point on good faith, my real intention, my agenda, so to speak. What I really want, and I have been transparent about it from the very beginning when I started this project, is some semblance of traditional Tekken movement in a freaking Tekken game. And I repeat the question again, the main man. When did traditional standards for Tekken movement became an issue for you exactly? When exactly did you change your perspective? And more importantly, why did you change? That is the looming question. A great option you could try, on paper, is sidestep left low parry. Moving left is the only way to evade flicker 1 jabs. This option would cover and kill other Steve likely and interesting options such as peekaboo 2 or peekaboo down 1. Well, it would be a shame if he had a safe mid variation that will always kill sidestep into duck and is also a...
Well, that's the whole point. Characters need to have mix-ups. I mean, what you're talking about is like a Tekken game where homing attacks don't exist. All attacks are...
Again, Strawman, when has that been said? He does that all the time, bro. I hate it so much. And, you know, for some reason, when you then engage with other people that want to chill and defend the game, like Coach Kazama and stuff, they then do the same. Copy-paste. They just take this, what he's doing, and also do that.
Linear, no homing attacks. You should have an option select that beats everything. You should just be able to step left and no one can do anything. That's what you're saying here. Of course, Steve has an option to beat you if you do step left duck. Of course, can you imagine if he had nothing he could do? And you could just step left duck and beat everything he does? I mean, Steve would be unplayable. And what you're doing wouldn't even be impressive because it's completely brain dead.
No one
you just
said
step left duck, step left duck, and Steve can't do anything. Is that impressive?
Let's pay attention to your careful choice of words.
Of course, Steve has an option to beat you if you do step left duck. It's an option.
No, MainMan. He doesn't have an option to beat sidestep left into duck. He has an arsenal of options. The odds are completely stacked.
Can you imagine if he had nothing he could do?
As if Steve is lacking in options outside the flicker jab variations in itself. Man, this is disgusting. You're doing this on bad faith. What makes it even worse is that I know you're doing this on bad faith. Weeks ago, you were complaining about the very same shit, about the lack of defensive options when Hwarang pressures you on range 0. Screw this, man. I can't even with this hypocrisy. What makes it even worse is that you're doing it on bad faith, not ignorance.
Here, when he's pressuring you with stuff like this, it's like, well, but he loses to sidesteps if you have a good read. Well, give him this move. You know. +6 on hit, infinity reach homing low, that's unseeable. And he gets +6 left flamingo stance to do whatever he wants.
Well, you know what? You can play this game.
Here, when he's pressuring you with stuff like this, it's like, well, but he loses to sidesteps if you have a good read. Well, give him this move.
That's the whole point. Characters need to have mix-ups.
+6 on hit, infinity reach homing low. That's
this is the funny thing. I can, Adrian, if you hear or see this later because of your mods telling you the evil Medusa did watch this or whatever. I can watch a 1-hour video of you and then a 1-hour video of you from a different time, but around the same time. And then you will answer to yourself continuously. You gaslight and then you crack because you play ranked. I know how you operate, my friend. And then you sound like us. And that's the reason why we can do what you're seeing right now. I put you on the screen on the right side. Let you speak, and then let you answer to yourself. This is an insane level of hypocrisy. And the reason why I'm watching this right now is because you are now starting to say the reason why Tekken 8 is bad is because of the player base. Where is the accountability for your own actions?
Unseeable?
I mean, what you're talking about is like a Tekken game where homing attacks don't exist.
And he gets +6 left flamingo stance to do whatever he wants.
Of course, Hwarang has an option to beat you if you do step left. Of course, can you imagine if he had nothing he could do? And you could just step left and beat everything he does? I mean, it would be unplayable. And what you're doing wouldn't even be impressive because it's completely brain dead. All attacks are linear, no homing attacks. You should have an option select that beats everything. You should just be able to step left and no one can do anything. That's what you're saying here.
Feels good, right? Get used to it, because that's what you people have been doing to me every single time. If you roll
this video is unbelievable. Breaking news and fighting games where are option selects, and there are things characters can do to try and counter the option selects. Characters can try and counter your counter if they have a read. Breaking fucking news, everyone.
Man, what a hypocrite you are. First of all, you're misrepresenting my argument to make it sound as silly as possible. You're going for the exact same bad faith route Fighting GM went for. And in your case, that makes it even worse, because that is hypocritical from you, considering stuff you complained about in the past. And also, because unlike GM, you are a good analyst. You are a much better Tekken analyst than he is. And you're so much more clever than he is. So, unlike him, most of what you did here is not out of ignorance. That makes it even worse.
Even worse.
I never once claimed advanced defensive options such as sidestep ducking, sidestep low parrying, sidestep blocking should warrant completely negating my opponent's offensive options. I never once said that. Textbook strawman's fallacy. Within that context, between me and Fighting GM, I was showcasing how chaotic and suicidal lateral movement is against Steve's flicker and peekaboo transitions. Not because, quote-unquote, you have no answers. Yes, you have ultra-specific answers for each specific option he might have. But for how disproportionate the odds are against the defender. Can you hear me now? Stop acting on bad faith and care to observe the whole picture.
If the main man starts to complain about the game, he will just get depressed by his work, I guess. First of all, he is complaining about the game. But at the same time, when you complain about it, he will attack you and say that you are wrong. That is the problem, Vahallu. The problem everyone fucking has with him is that he does something and it is fine. When you do it, you are an idiot.
Sure. I showcase the option of sidestep left ducking, because if you go right, the flicker jab will always beat you, and how it could specifically respond to Steve flicker 1 up 1, but it would be actually suicidal, because within the flicker jab itself, there are 13 variations in which most of them can kill sidestep left duck. And I'm talking about the flicker jab alone. It's not like Steve is lacking in options to beat sidestep left duck outside the flicker jab. He already has an arsenal of independent options to beat this advanced lateral movement option. For every ultra-specific lateral movement option you might try, Steve has 6, 8, 12, 15 different options that can beat this advanced lateral movement option. The odds are completely to his favor. Lateral movement against Steve is a terrible option. And that is why Fighting GM embarrassed himself trying to showcase possible answers against Steve through lateral movement, gaslighting his audience with a straight face while getting clipped multiple times in his recording. That clown was gaslighting his audience, claiming how casually you could move laterally against Steve, contrary to what your very own
but they can't take it out of context, bro.
On the screen.
What's the point? It's too risky.
That is why I said disengaging backwards movement is your go-to movement option against Steve. And that moving laterally against Steve is chaotic at the best case scenario and suicidal in reality. You, just like GM, operated on bad faith and demonstrated a complete lack of a sense of proportion. Stop misrepresenting people's arguments and stop gaslighting your audience. For a long time, you have been a notorious, relentless critic of Nina and Anna to the point of basically hating them. While I share your criticism in terms of what they became in the modern Tekken environment, don't you realize the way you are dismissing the necessity for effective backwards movement is a direct contradiction to the hate you bear towards the Williams sisters? Don't you understand the capacity to outspace the Williams sisters and work on different ranges other than range 0 is paramount to a balanced experience, and that being stuck in mud, unable to space away from them, makes them even more of a super boss character than they already are. Man, it is extremely hypocritical from you to complain about their game-breaking frame data and properties when it comes to small Tekken and poking on range 0, but at the same time dismissing and trying to clown a guy screaming his lungs out that sabotaging backwards movement removed the damn counterplay against this very nature of relentless rank 0 mashing offense you complain about the Williams sisters. You use lateral movement as a rhetorical shield, claiming advanced lateral movement such as sidestep block, sidestep duck is more sophisticated than, according to you, quote-unquote, mindlessly spamming Korean backdash. As if there's anything mindless about spacing and tight with punishment in a fighting game. But I digress. The thing is, where does lateral movement come in against 12 frame homing moves, my man? How do you move laterally against these super boss abominations and their game-breaking super buttons? How do you move laterally in an environment where lateral movement has also been sabotaged? Have you seen my project covering lateral movement in Tekken 8? I think you should really give it a shot. Instead of doing this bad faith reaction of a reaction video, I would love to see the mental gymnastics you would come up with to advocate for this state of madness. Don't you realize how hypocritical you have been towards me? I'm on your side, you blockhead, whether you like me as a person or not.
You know what is the irony about this? So he has not only done this to you, Nova, he has done this to basically all of us that were speaking about Tekken 8 in a negative way, because it would affect maybe his pocket in his mind. And he wanted to shield the game to maximize the profit and be in the good fucking things with Bandai Namco, and fair enough. But, you know, always playing the short game is not beneficial to your overall career. When this game fucking doesn't get fixed, you have to play this game 8 hours a day. You're going to torture yourself, first of all. And when I'm watching you, you are in a fucking torture chamber. It's just watching you is only funny because you are literally getting tortured by your fucking own profession. And you were even advocating for it. That is the craziest part. Okay? And when then the people will stop fucking investing so much time into the game, and the player base will become smaller, well, guess what will happen to your pocket? So if you would have just had a little bit foresight and don't plan only everything for the next 3 months, you would have known the route that you're going currently is gonna fuck you up on your own.
You might not like me, and you are entitled to not like me, given our interactions in the past. But my project covering in depth the flawed design philosophy of modern Tekken is ultimately beneficial to you as well. Get a grip, man. On this matter, you should be vouching for me, not against me. The rewards you get from said interactions are completely disproportional to the disastrous outcomes in case you get them wrong.
I mean, I agree with GM. It just sounds like he has beef with Steve. He says the video is not about Steve, but it's all I see on the screen.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That also, I don't understand this. They try to find like something to shit on him. Okay, I want to now talk about Tekken 8. And Adrian, you claim always to be so reflected and intelligent and all this stuff, yeah? So you cannot understand that if someone wants to criticize the game, he has to take a character to illustrate his problems with the game. Does he now need to go and pick up every character in the game so that someone in the chat or you will not say, hey, but this is like you have a problem with this character. I have a problem with the game design, and I'm picking a character from said design. That makes no sense. I can't believe that you don't understand this concept. And because you do understand this concept, it makes it even worse. Because you do it on purpose. Otherwise, you are either dumb, which I don't think, or you are disingenuous, which I think you are.
Christ. God help me. This is not even worth addressing again. I'm skipping this.
Nova, you're simply talking about backdash canceling into a punish or backdashing away from Steve, whereas GM is actually talking about all the core mechanics you can apply.
Well, first of all, you are lying. I actually did present all the possible answers against Steve swarming on range 0 by using core Tekken mechanics such as high crushing, punch pairing, or interrupting through frames mathematics. So when you say that I only talked about the need to disengage from Steve and did not present the other options, you are lying. What I did stress is that these options, when you are restricted to them in a non-movement environment, inevitably leads to disproportional outcomes, where you are statistically bound to be destroyed because his options not only far out damage you in terms of rewards, but his options are also more statistically likely to be successful, particularly according to the matchup. As in, on range 0, Steve is much more likely to hit you than the other way around. But again, just like fighting GM, you are talking from a position of privilege. It is quite convenient for you to dismiss the necessity to disengage from Steve when you have this to completely dismantle Steve by gambling interactions on range 0. When you have this to even the odds to some extent. And I stress, to some extent. Because even though you have this, Steve still has a massive edge on you on range 0. The thing is, not every character gets the power to gamble for massive rewards while paying so little in return. And even in your case, when you do have this, it is still in your best interest to play outside of Steve's range, because the necessity of the matchup dictates so. If not, keep gaslighting your audience of aspiring Kazuya players and tell them they should try to go toe-to-toe and exchange blow by blow with Steve on range 0. That will go so well for them, right? I can't even, bro. I can't even. It is all so tiresome, man. So tiresome.
So he's saying parries suck because Steve can bait the parry and kill you. Yeah, well, of course. I mean, of course everything can be punished. If Steve has a read on you doing a punch parry, of course he can blow you up.
Except Steve is not reading shit. He's just flowcharting his flicker and peekaboo options. And by merely mindlessly flowcharting his options, he can kill many Sabaki parry attempts for the simple fact Sabaki parries have very strict frame windows, and they demand a very specific timing for any option Steve might try. Not every character is privileged like Lee, who can punch parry all Steve's flicker options with no timing required whatsoever. Also, Sabaki parries, as I showed, have a much steeper price on failure, since they are moves before being a parry, therefore leading into a counter hit when mistimed. So, while they can be successful, they can also lead into disaster, even if your so-called read was correct and Steve went for a high or mid punch. It can still fail in glorious fashion because of the aforementioned reasons. And we go back to the beginning, and the looming question you are cleverly trying to avoid at any cost. Why are we being forced to gamble to begin with? You talk about core mechanics. Movement is the primordial Tekken core mechanic. Before Tekken 8, we could use it, you know? I know it's been a while, but coming from someone who often plays Legacy Tekken, let me tell you something. Traditional Tekken movement is not a conspiracy theory. It actually existed. Straight up, gambles were an option, not a necessity. You see, suddenly, magically, the just high crush bro starts to make a little more sense, don't you think? But it goes beyond that, way beyond that. If I get my down 4 blocked, what do I pay for it exactly? Wildman punish.
So unless you get a huge combo, there's no value in trying to do high evasion against Steve. I mean, if that's your logic, I don't know what to say.
My logic is quite simple, Mayman. If I have to win 16 interactions on close range, and he has to win 2 to 3 to win the round, that means playing on close range is not in my best interest. That means the odds are completely against me within this context. It's not in my best interest to play on the range my opponent's character excels. Stop misrepresenting my point. And yeah, that was exactly what I was saying. If your high crushing option doesn't net you a big reward, there's no point in trying to exchange blow by blow with Steve on range 0. He has frame supremacy over you. He has property supremacy over you. His rewards on successful interactions are 10 times stronger than yours. It's not a difficult concept to grasp, unless you are a bad faith actor, and you're refusing to see the point I'm trying to make on bad faith.
Just spam backdash and you just move away. Sure, you pressed buttons quickly, but I'm not sure that's more interesting than someone going into a match and having in-depth character knowledge. Knowing how to move, when to backdash, when to sidestep, step left or step right. Against Asuka, option selecting her offense with step right duck, step right duck. That is 100 times more interesting to me than someone just playing Zafina in Tekken 7 with a hitbox, backdashing out.
Having quote-unquote in-depth...
This is also, for example, a weird fucking example, bro. Because people did complain about backdash, but not in the way you think. They complained about the character design in a game where their backdash got nerfed, but the DLC character's backdash got buffed. So when you play Tekken 7, coming from an older Tekken, you would be like, hey, the backdash is a bit worse than before, but it's still not as bad as Tekken 8. Now, they bring out these overpowered characters like Kunimitsu, like Noctis, the characters that FDX played all the time. Then he explains that Tekken 7 was bad because he just was running away into a knockdown mid. Yeah, but that was your experience because you chose to fucking tier whore. Yes or no? Yes. That was not the experience, overall experience of Tekken 7. We said that it is not nice to be stuck in the mud while the opponent is moving at Tag Tournament 2 speed. How can I catch the opponent? And they take this part of the conversation and make it out to be as if it is a representation of the overall Tekken 7 mechanics. And this is just so disingenuous, it makes me want to throw up, quite frankly. Because I know they do it on purpose. They can't be that dumb.
Character knowledge is actually knowing that sidestep right duck...
Another one. They say, hey, yeah, what, you think there's too many 50-50s and the characters are too broken? Do you wanna go back and play against Akuma and the 2D characters? Objection, like Nova Saiken likes to say. How come when we complain about the game, then you bring up like 2D characters and missing the entire point of the fact that these characters are the fucking embodiment of Tekken 8 in 7. A meter fucking dash is a heat dash. Using your meter in the combo to extend the combo is a heat mechanic. Making a 50-50 attempt that is launch punishable on block into a plus frame heat dash into another mix is a 2D meter mechanic. All these mechanics that you see in Tekken 8 now, where they wanna say, oh, you wanna play 2Ds again? Oh, don't you remember how much you complained? Yeah, but now it's the entire game. Welcome to reality.
against Asuka, as you suggested, is actually suicidal, because in this abomination of game design you're playing the role of an advocate. Asuka has access to free win super buttons that will kill you for sidestepping right into duck. Having in-depth character knowledge is knowing that the least suicidal defensive option you have is sidestep right block, not duck. And this coming from the guy who in this very same video will accuse me of not having any tactical Tekken knowledge and accuse me of being an execution obsessed everyday Mishima scrub.
All that stuff jails with Steve, brother. Cannot duck on reaction. You never could duck. That's the Steve Fox stuff, boy. Like that's not Tekken 8.
Exactly. You could never duck his jailing strings. These are traditional properties of Steve's strings. But there's one thing I could do against Steve, which is disengage from him. Space myself away from him to play at my desirable range where his frame data doesn't entirely dominate mine. But you don't seem to understand that. I never once said you could duck his jailing strings in the past. I never once said that. This is textbook Strawman's fallacy.
Noah Seiken always strikes me as a Tekken player who doesn't fully understand the game. And just like a lot of Mishima players, he's completely obsessed with execution. And for him, the biggest skill expression and the only thing that exists is strong mechanical skill doing a super fast backdash into a perfect electric. That's to him like, that's Tekken. It's not strategy, it's not mind games, it's just execution. Moving like a robot like this. Duria, like that's peak Tekken. And there are people who agree with that, I don't. So, if I don't understand Tekken at a deeper tactical level, if I have no credibility as an analyst, and my only interest is the extreme mechanical execution aspects of Tekken, then you have to answer two questions. Why do I take it upon myself to cover the deepest layers of Tekken in my breakdown videos then? Why all the care in the world to provide?
I am very sorry, guys. I have to call it here because I promised to go and eat some pizza with a girl and I almost forgot about her. Wait a second. I show you just one last fucking thing why we even watch this shit. I need to hurry up before she fucking rips off my head. Wait a second. So, wait. I fucked up, bro. So anyways, the reason why we watch this, yeah, I could have also allowed this, obviously. The reason why we watch this one more time was this. I don't like it when the main man starts to attack us for his own shortcomings. It's annoying me. When he did this, I got triggered. I want him to stop officially. Adrian, this is a message to you, officially. Stop attacking the people for the outcome of Tekken 8. You have much more fault in it. Much more.
Isn't this the developer's fault more than his? No. You can take that excuse and shove it up your fucking asshole. Fuck you. So tired of hearing that. When I play this game in ranked and everyone's abusing cheese, and when I play Dead by Daylight, everyone's abusing cheese. You are the problem. The devs are 50%, but the other 50% is you low self-esteem losers who choose to abuse the dumbest shit. I blame you as well. You choose to do that.
So anyways, I don't like it when he does this, you know? And it's just too blatant. It's too much. It's really annoying. Anyways, I'm gonna raid someone now. Let me see how this shit works. I've not been here for a long time. I raid fighting GM then. Let me see. Okay, be nice though, yeah? If you don't like him, don't watch. If I may fucking find his account, bro. Where is that guy? He's still streaming. Ah, there he is. Okay. I'm off eating pizza, guys. In a bit.